As children, we would sit down and crack open a bright, colorful storybook, and we could sit there for hours looking at it, even though we couldn't read the words. And now, as adults, we can still remember some of our favorite ones. What makes these stories so memorable for years? It's not because we read or could understand the story, because we couldn't read at that age. It must be the imagery that told us the story and that we remember. And one illustrator and writer of children's books that did a great job of making his illustrations memorable and the stories memorable was Maurice Sendak. Maurice Sendak was born in Brooklyn, New York, June 10th, 1928. And as a child, he was very isolated, often spending most of his time indoors drawing and doodling. When Sendak was still young, his parents took him to see Fantasia, and that has been an inspiration to his work ever since. The animation and imagery and imagination in Fantasia has inspired him throughout his career. After growing up, Sendak did not start out as an illustrator. He actually started out as a window dresser for FOA Schwarz, but soon found illustration jobs and quit Schwarz and would become a freelance children's book illustrator. Sendak's illustrations would become known for their quirkiness. Each character had this almost dark, strange appearance, and that would make his stories unique. He would use different pen techniques to create his characters, such as cross-hatching and line weight and different things to give his characters depth and interest. And his characters would become his stories. You wouldn't even need the words to support what the pictures would be telling you. One of Sendak's most popular stories is Where the Wild Things Are. It's a story about a child named Max who was sent to bed without a supper for misbehaving, and then while in his room he created this world with these creatures who would crown him as their king. The illustrations of Where the Wild Things are so popular and so recognizable, and this is because that when they were created, they were very controversial, because the monsters that Max made up and became king of were very scary things. But the fact that Sendak put so much creativity and layers behind the characters as he drew them made them so interesting. And actually, the book is only 10 sentences long, so really the imagery tells the story. Where the Wild Things Are has been adapted in many ways. It's been translated into several different languages and sold all over the world. It's been adapted into an opera and played for children, and it's actually going to come out as a movie in 2009 that's directed by Spike Jonze, which is going to be very cool to see how that turns out, because it's going to be live action, no animation or anything, so definitely we'll have to see that. Other stories that Sendak have worked on is Little Bear, a series of children's books, and a book that Sendak wrote and illustrated himself called In the Night Kitchen. As well, he also worked on the beginning development stages of Sesame Street, which I thought was really cool. Sendak has inspired many with his children's stories, whether it be young developing artists or children just as they're growing up and reading his books. Sendak brings us into his own world with his narrative illustrations that even if they weren't supported with words, the story could still be told.